Well, over the last, I've spent about 4 hours doing this. I've come to hate these toe setting things. They're really frustrating. They've got such a lot of slack in them that the first thing you learn is you need to, if you're progressively adjusting towards a figure for your toe out, or whatever you want, if you want parallel, um, you need to do it progressively in the same direction. So just do it bit by bit. It's a real pain because in my case, I don't have a lift or anything. So I'm jacking the car, sticking axle stands under it, making the adjustment, taking the axle stands out, dropping the car, rolling it backwards and forwards, measuring the toe out. It just goes on and on. I've been doing this for hours. You can tell I'm getting frustrated with this. So that's the first thing. So whichever direction you're going to go in, whether you're trying to go from too much toe out towards toe in, which is in this direction in my case. So it also depends on the position of your eccentric washer. But in my case, I needed to pull the back of the wheel in, which means that I need to rotate this clockwise. So that's the first thing. And if you've got too much toe in and you want to go more toe out, then it's anti-clockwise. But as I said, always progressively do it in the same direction, because there's such a lot of slack that you'll turn it for a period and nothing will happen. There won't be any change on the wheel. So that's one thing. The other thing that I've just found is that, so when I finally arrived at the right setting, this white mark here was actually further round. It was about there. And then when I came to torque the nut up, it twisted, which is so frustrating. But it turns out there's so much slop in this whole assembly. So there's the bolt in the bush, and there's the slop in the keyway in this thing here. There's so much slop in it that actually, although that rotated from there to there, the wheel hasn't moved. I dropped it, measured the toe out again, and it's still the same. Just a couple of points of clarification here. I'm not saying that you shouldn't hold the bolt in position with a spanner on the other side. So, obviously you need a counter force against, you're trying to torque up the nut. But the point I was trying to make is that in my case, what I did was I tightened up the nut, which moved the eccentric washer. I then turned the bolt the other side to move the eccentric washer back to the position it was in originally, and that then messed everything up again. So I was sort of chasing my own tail by adjusting again when the marker had moved on this eccentric washer. So I think the moral of this story is that you need to check. I hate having to say this because it is a real pain, but you need to check after you've tightened it up before you jump to the conclusion that by tightening it you've actually made a change to the toe setting.